everybody. Once again, this is Black Power Media, and this is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. And let me introduce you to your host today. No other than I mix what I like, the Remix Morning Show right here, right now. Dr. Jared Ball.
Book. What's up, good people? What's up, Ear Doctor? What's going on? It's the two of us. In other words, AKA, it's how I like it. You know what I'm saying? I do think your mic is a little low, though. But other than that,
right there.
There you go. Now you sounded crispy. Okay. But we will get it started, and we'll see if anybody else shows up. But if not, we'll hold it down. Sister May is in the back. Sister Erica has provided some stories. I got one or two, and then we got the remixers in the building as well. So they should invite folks to join us. Tell a friend, right?
That's right.
That is on again like this. But and maybe when they put the word out, it'll alert our co-hosts to jump on.
We send out the bat signal. Come on.
But shout out to Coco. Leah's in the building. Dead Man Animations. What's up, good people? Good to see you all joining us once again. Man, I still can't bring that story up yet. I gotta wait a while. There's something I really want to talk about that's going on around here, but it's just not ready yet. And it's too revealing for our family. It's like too personal.
Oh, really?
Well, but it's really the school system. It's really the school system needs to be. We need a revolution. That's really just what it is.
You need a revolution. Hey, yo, I ran to Amaniki last week.
I was going to ask. You were out in the streets last night. Yeah, what's up? Look at that. And where was the same? Like I saw, like I said a couple years ago. It's not that long ago. I saw Busta Rhymes, and I was amazed at his energy levels. We roughly the same age, and I'm like, son.
Hey, you know the dope thing about Busta is he studied people like Papa San and different reggae artists to learn how to be an MC. So, bruh, I mean, he got that fire. Even if you look at some of these older reggae artists, they still up on stage like Capleton or somebody. Man,
Kim is in the building.
Hey,
Kim.
Good morning, Black
Good morning.
How we doing?
As good as could be expected, and better now. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm caught up in between these seasons. I don't know what season it is out here, but
yeah,
voila.
I'm not a fan of this either. And then what I was just complaining at home about is that it feels like we around here in the DMV Mid-Atlantic region of the United States, we go from winter to hot and humid summer almost immediately. It's like we don't get none of that real spring anymore.
Yeah, this is actually a real spring. And that's why maybe I'm not used to it, right? It's like, what is this? How come it's in between hot and cold?
Is it?
I don't get affected by pollen, but I'm hearing people who are impacted with allergies complain mightily that the pollen is already beginning.
They feeling it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But real quick, Ear Doctor, before if we have a quick second, now that you mentioned the Far Side last night, and I mentioned Busta Rhymes, and now that Kim is here, the top of your head, who are your top 5 or so live performances that you've seen? Like who
Dylan.
And Dylan, right on.
I would say this. MOP.
Ooh.
Man, I've never seen MOP.
Tribe Called Quest.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, yes. Oh,
KRS-One and Buckshot, they did the show together. And Buju Banton.
Oh damn.
Yeah, Buju killed it. And
are we talking rappers? Or are we talking?
I was thinking hip hop, but it could be anything. It could be anything. It was just off the top.
Hip hop. Let's stick with hip hop. Redman, Wu-Tang, Who else blew my mind? I don't know. Wu-Tang has blown my mind a couple of times. What's one? I've seen KRS rock the show for show. Who blew my brain? I gotta look at my concert ticket stubs sometimes to remember things, because unfortunately during the 90s, right? A lot of times you would go to see people at clubs and they wouldn't give you like a ticket. It's, it's $20 to see Nori tonight, So,
Right,
you
right.
didn't leave out of there with a ticket stub unless you, of course, you had the foresight to remember to bring home the club flyer for posterity. But I'm gonna have to put Redman up there every single time, y'all. Because Red was stage dive.
Okay.
One of Redman's best call-in responses to his fans is everybody say, "Fuck you, Redman. Fuck you, Redman. Say, fuck you, Redman. Fuck you, Redman." Like, oh yeah, Red has amazing energy on stage. So I'm gonna have to say Redman number one.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Red and Meth for my fifth, because I see the Month of the Man when that came out.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's the joy. I almost got crushed to death at the Month of the Man show. Y'all want to hear a quick story? All right, there you go. Quick story. Quick story. December 1998 at the Ritz nightclub. It was Red and Meth on a promo tour for the Month of the Man show. As Ear Doctor just said, Meth was promoting T2 Judgment Day and Red was promoting Docs the Name 2000. And it was niggles everywhere. And me and my homegirl, I'm 5'2". My homegirl was 5 foot. So we go down there and we are huge Red and Meth fans. So we go down front, right? But of course it's dudes. It's just dudes, a sea of dudes. So my friend was like, "It's too rowdy down here, Kim. I'm going to the back." I said, "Girl, you ain't about that action. I'm down here, blah, blah, blah." So Red and Meth come out and all of a sudden, all this male energy erupts around me and they start to crush me. Like I've never before or since have ever had the sensation that I was going to lose consciousness. I thought I was going to pass out on the floor of the Ritz nightclub and nobody was going to see me and these dudes was going to stomp me to death. But out of the distance, who comes to my rescue? None other than Superman lover himself. Red saw me struggling on stage. He reached down in the crowd, pulled me up, picked me up, carried me off stage, and gave me to a security guard who took me outside. And I proceeded to hyperventilate because literally I thought I was going to lose breath. And lose
damn.
It was crazy. It was crazy. I've never experienced anything like that since. So big up to Reggie Noble always. And when I met Red about 6 months after that and I recounted the story, he had no idea what I was talking about. He had no recollection of this incident at all. So it's just me out here to tell the story that Redman looks out for his fans.
I was going to say
other rappers.
The best part of that, well, not the best part, but a great part of that story is that if he doesn't remember, that is testimony to that being his natural state of being. He just saves people in need. That is perfect. I love it. And we're glad that it worked out. That Superman lover. He just be saving people. Yeah, go ahead.
Further evidence that this is an incident that happened. I actually typed up a letter to Russell Simmons, who was the head of Def Jam at the time. I'm like, you need to know what your artist did for one of his fans. And one of my friends who was close with Russell at the time gave him the letter. And of course, Russell, I'm sure he never read it. But I felt that passionate that somebody needed to know what Redman was out here doing for his fans.
Nice. I got to see Biggie Smalls perform too. That's another one.
What?
Yeah, when Ready or Die first came out, he came down here to Atlanta. Man,
I'm so jealous.
Him and Black Moon, they both came down.
What?
Yeah.
On the same show? On the same show?
Yeah, same show.
What?
And if we're gonna go to R&B, Jill Scott got one of the best shows. And jazz musician Liz Wright. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Oh, if we wanna step outside the rap boundary, we can have a conversation about.
I got a little culture.
If we step outside the rap boundary, it's for me Pink Floyd all day.
Oh wow!
Every day. RFK Stadium, 1989. Multiple hits of LSD. And it was just an incredible night until at the end somebody walked by and said, "Look at that nigga over there." And ruined my night because I knew, and it was a quiet ride home because I knew that the white boys I was with would not have had my back. It was just It was just one of those wake up calls. But in the hip hop R&B realm, or hip hop realm in particular, although I know that there's been controversy over whether her album counted, I counted it. I saw Lauryn Hill live twice, and I think that was still one of the best shows I've ever seen. When she was at her height, when she had the full band, and she would do the band versus the DJ competition and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was just incredible. Jay-Z in a small venue in DC. I want to say, I can't even remember where it was. I want to say it was like the Capitol Center or something, but it was a smaller.
I'm gonna guess the Nation's nightclub is where.
That's what it was. I think that's what it was.
Yes,
I think that's what it was.
That's where they built National Stadium. The Nation's nightclub no longer exists. I saw.
You know what? I think that's
there. Yeah.
And not only just in terms of his music, but his stage presence, the way he managed the crowd when a fight broke out, all that kind of stuff. I thought was really dope.
Yeah, I seen. Go ahead.
I
seen Jay at that Hard Knock Life concert with him, DMX, Ja Rule. That was a crazy dope show right there.
But I also remember, like, I caught at the tail end of the 80s, I caught a couple of those mega shows where like you got to see like Heavy D, Public Enemy.
You went to a Budweiser Superfest. You went to a Budweiser
like
Superfest.
College Park was one of them. Like you had all of those on stage together, and Fresh Prince was there even. Like, I mean, it was like you know, all like those are some great, you know. But yeah, now I'm stuck on like who would be like I saw De La, I saw the Roots a bunch of times with Jill Scott included. Those are great shows. The Roots are phenomenal live. You know, anyway, so I don't, you know, but it's I think about some more. But anyway, but Pink Floyd though, and at the time I read that they spent $100 million per show on their light and sound show.
Damn,
that's how much. Yeah,
that sounds like a ridiculous amount of money, especially in the 80s.
I'm sorry, not per show, per tour. The tour cost because their light show was tremendous. But they made, they made plenty of money.
And I got to see NERD, Pharrell and them.
Oh,
listen,
yo,
you talking about people crowd surfing and everything?
If you want to hate on Pharrell, if anybody like me wants to hate on Pharrell, please look up. It's on YouTube. Look up the when he was what do they call it, when he was questioned, but his deposition on the Marvin Gaye copyright
song.
The Robert. Watch Pharrell on there. He does not look good at all. He comes off looking really bad and really uninformed when it comes to music. So if you want to hate on Pharrell, that's something that you should look up and enjoy. And he
stole
Kaylee's money. Kaylee's money. He stole her
last
money.
One in the 80s. I got to see New Edition, Fat Boys, Salt and Pepper, and LL Cool J.
Let me tell you,
man.
I never forget.
MC Light and Poor Righteous Teacher.
Oh wow! Damn, I want to see that show now.
You talk about this I was a little teen too.
One of my favorite concert memories, 1988 at the Capitol Center. The Capitol Center no longer exists, but it was New Edition, Bobby Brown, and I'll Be Sure. Slim.
Oh wow!
Bobby Brown took me into puberty that night. I was like, taking his shirt off, he humping the stage. I'm like, Mama, what's he doing?
And now to look back now and to think about all the backstage behind the scenes beef that they were having and the competition that probably led to him trying to outperform the rest of it, like all of that is just I'm sure he took you into puberty all by himself.
Bobby Brown.
Hey,
Him said, I don't need Mother Nature. Got Bobby Brown.
I'm on screen already, but it's time to go to a break.
Oh,
let's go to your break.
Lovely.
Where you at, here, Doctor?
Morning show,
let's go ahead and get this thing started right here on the Remix Morning Show.
Black Power Media.
All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and you are tuned into Black Power Media. And make sure y'all hit that like button down there. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. the notification bell so y'all can know when all the dope new shows are coming through and coming on. And make sure you tell a friend it's on again. Go to patreon.com, drop some change in the bucket for Black Power Media. Become a member. All these different things you can do right here on the Remix Morning Show, and you'll know all the dope stuff coming out. With that said, let me go ahead and get to a artist spotlight right about here, right about now. I was able to do a remix for a sister that goes by the name of Malik Onay. So this right here is her song, which is called Venus and Mars. Let's get into it right here, right now.
The ear doctor, the ear doctor, doctor. The ear doctor, doctor.
I'm just a little shy, so won't you move from over there to here so we can talk about how obvious attraction is between you and I, and figure what to do with this feeling. It's got me feeling so. Yes, I felt it from the moment that you said what's up, baby. Tell you everything that's on my mind and give you secrets to keep. The way you walk so tight, the way you pretend you ain't watching me at all. The way your hands feel on me, and like the direction of our energy.
There you go. Right there, that is Malik Onay. That's right, Malik Onay. So go check her out. Follow her on that Instagram tag. You will hear some dope music. And that's what it is. Now let's get back to the Remix Morning Show. Now we do. Yeah.
What up? What up? You were the producer on that?
I did a little remix version to it.
I mean, but that was tight. I mean, if that was your production, that was banging.
Yeah. Thank you. That sister right there, I've known her since Florida. Funny thing is, we went to high school together, 10th grade, ran into her again here in Atlanta. It was crazy. She's like, I'm doing music. I was like, let me hear. Bam, let me give you this remix. That's what it is. So check that out.
Her voice reminds me of somebody, and I'm not recalling the artist's name, but she was like light skin with big hair, not Khalees, but late 80s, 90s. Her voice reminds me of somebody, and I'm not placing it, but I dug it. Nika Costa. Maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
Oh, Nika Costa. Well,
I'd have never pulled that one out. Yeah.
That's what it is. I catch you on the next break. Peace.
Right on. The multi-talented ear doctor. I didn't even know he did all that. That's what's up.
Goes to show.
I don't think he knew.
Yes, he did. Of course, we got Kalanji Chonga in the building. Casa Kalanji, what's going on with you?
I'm in the building, feeling like I'm in the building. What's good with y'all? How y'all doing, man?
Doing all right,
as
sir.
good as could be expected.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
Okay. Yes.
I don't see you around these parts on Wednesday. I'm glad to see your face.
I be out thugging and whatnot. I got a little I got a little break today for a few minutes. So I was like, let me hop on with the fam and
you get the streets a break. That's what it was.
You know what I mean?
A break.
Nah, I mean,
let them breathe a little bit. Go get your coffee and your sandwiches.
Go get it now. Kalanji's in the house.
Right.
Kalanji's in the house.
I'll be back, but for now, just settle.
Now.
It's safe to come outside for a couple hours.
I don't know. We might take the show on the road. What you think?
Hey,
take it to the streets. I was thinking about that on the real, man, doing little block sessions and whatnot, man.
No question.
Of course, some of the folks
out on the block segment. That'd be the hottest.
I don't know if they're ready for that, B.
Hey.
I don't know if they're ready for that.
That's next though. Hey, another good reason why folks, continue to support the channel, spread the word, get a couple more ducats in our pockets, and get Kalonji a GoPro set up.
Yeah,
get these segments rolling for real.
Let's go. Hey, that sounds like a plan. We could do that. Let's do that.
Do you ever watch? Speaking of which, do you either of you ever watch that? I'm a little bit ashamed of this, but because sometimes I do veer off of our own particular YouTube neighborhood streets. And this dude, this brother, Gideon, I don't know if I'm doubt I'm saying his name right, but he does a brother, and he must have behind the camera a thorough team, because he does a lot of going in, out in the world and getting in people's faces and all this other, and one of the more recent videos that I saw is that he showed up at an Umar Johnson event to call him out for taking his money and not doing an interview, because apparently he had paid, this dude has like millions of followers, and apparently he had paid Umar $500 for an interview.
Is he out of Alabama? This particular brother?
I'm not sure where he's from. I've only seen a couple videos, and it just seems like I initially thought it had to be scripted, because he's doing things and confronting people in the public in ways I would never do, certainly, but I just can't see being safe. So I just always assumed that behind the camera is just some goons.
Is it mean-spirited? Because you're kind of describing hits from the street, right? From way back in the day. So it's not friendly?
I wouldn't say it's mean, but it's
snarky?
It's in one video in particular, it gets a little confrontational with this white dude in a store. Like he's like fake friendly, but confrontation. It's hard to describe. He's not mean. He's not like smacking people and spitting on, but he's putting himself and creating situations where there is some sort of antagonistic situation. And then because he's kind of jokey, and again, I'm assuming that whoever's got the camera is gooned up, low, strapped up something, because he's just. So he rolled up, like you see him roll up on Umar at his event, and one of Umar's friends has to kind of intervene a little bit, because dude is like, I gave you $500, you didn't pay me, and then he starts like trying to show him pictures of him have his white girlfriend and all this stuff to sort of
Yeah,
but to sort of poke the bear a little bit, Umar doesn't like that, so he's like, look at my white girlfriend, and it's just like he's trying to, and I'm like, wow. Anyway, that's just what I was thinking of when we were thinking of a Kalonji version of that. That's all.
I mean, if you're not thorough, folks will roll up on you. When we was doing Organizers New Cool, when we was taping out there, I remember a couple times folks trying to roll up on us. Shout out to my man Saber. Saber's a big dude. He don't play. You know what I'm saying? And I remember being on like Auburn Avenue here in Atlanta, and it was about 12, 13 cats rolling up. He's like, hey, yo, they see us with the cameras. Y'all students? Like, nah, we not no students or whatever. Then one of the brothers like, oh, yo, that's my man. Yo, this the cat right here. You do the feed the people thing, whatever, so on and so forth. So he was like real happy because he started telling his folks who he was and all that type of stuff. And we hadn't seen him literally since like 05. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, I've been locked up, so and so. But he was happy. But I know my whole thing, my point in saying this is like, if we weren't sanctioned, for lack of better words, and if we were some suckers, we'd have been leaving without no cameras, because they came on some strong arm position type joint.
And that's exactly what that sounded like, Kalonji. Strong arm move. That's some nice cameras y'all got. We about to
they got microwave that day though. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? They definitely
just real quick. This is the dude here, and this is the. I'm not gonna play it, but this is the video I'm talking about, where he just kind of rolls up on people. And then he rolls up on Umar. And I'm not saying that Umar doesn't have the white girlfriend. He rolls up and he puts on his African outfit, and then rolls up on Umar and says that he himself has a white girlfriend, and he's just trying to mess with Umar. And it's just like, so, and you see it's filmed, like somebody's clearly got a camera. So I'm just always assuming that the dude with the camera is thorough or strapped up or both. And then, so it's just a little bit of this kind of I'm not going to, I'm not playing the audio, but it's just
and what's this guy's name, Jared?
think it's I've seen him before. Gideon or something
I'm
like
not,
that.
yeah. And
he's not like Queen Flip though. Queen Flip's a whole nother.
Oh no, he's not. No, because Flip is a gangster or has that life, or comes from that life, from what I understand. No, this dude, I don't know anything about this dude. I've just seen a couple of these videos, and he's like in the South running up on white folks and stuff in stores and stuff, and I'm just like, this is. Anyway, I don't know. It's wild. It's wild. Anyway,
that's the interesting thing about the times that we live in, right? There are people out here with massive followings who many people have never heard of, right? It's like, oh, you don't know who so-and-so is? They got 10 million subscribers. Dog, I've never heard of this person before.
Until I saw that somebody tagged me in that Umar video. I had never heard of this dude. And it was like,
then there's folks like us who have about 15,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? And we'll bring that content the way it's supposed to be. But like as Jared mentioned, I think we might have 15,000 subscribers. We probably have more folks peeking in, like, what they doing today? You know what I'm saying?
They're watching, but they don't want to click that. They just like
it's all good. Anyway, still love you.
Shout out to y'all to BPM, because y'all have something enabled in your chat where only subscribers can participate in the chat. A feature of which I am a big fan of, and I don't think my channel yet qualifies for that perk. So
really?
Yeah, I don't think everybody can do that, because we was looking for it. I'm like, I need our shit to be like BPMs.
I said that on, I said it. I was ready to set it on members and be like, you can't, like nobody can, like
nobody can.
Somebody, you got to earn your right to talk shit to me.
But you know what? You even better than me. I had to stop myself, because one day I'm like, look, I'm turning the whole damn chat off, and I love the chat, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes when folks are teaching, when you have some real thorough scholars or some folks who live that life for decades, and you trying to tell them what's wrong and what's right. I mean, like, you gonna tell them how they serve time in prison? You wasn't there with them, too. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's like that. That sounds good. Dude did like 42 years. I remember Deruba told this cat one time, we was on a panel one time, and the brother, I'm not gonna say the brother's name, he was talking about his prison time. So Deruba said, you know, how much time you did? Dude said 6 years. Deruba said, shit, I did more time than that in the child line. You know what I'm saying? He did more time just going through getting his food trays than dude did his whole bid. So I was like, damn, dude was like, yo, I ain't even gonna mention I was locked up no more. I said, yeah, probably not in front of the Deruba. But anyway.
But gentlemen,
there's always sorry, go ahead, Kim.
This is an awesome opportunity, because hadn't we discussed staying out the chat? And as soon as y'all told me to stay out the chat, y'all niggas been all up in the chat. I mean,
it's Jared's fault. That's Jared's fault. I've been staying out the chat every now and then.
I thought we stayed out the chat, Gerard.
Yeah, Gerard.
I think we should slap the map and get it.
I think we should slap the map too. Say that. Slap up the map.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Remix Morning Show. While Kim is out here pointing out everybody's inconsistencies and contradictions and whatnot, today, Kalonji, is, to a little bit of a serious note, a more serious note. Today is an important day that we want to pay some attention to before we move on and get back to some of the histrionics here at the Remix Morning Show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the day is and why it's important to commemorate it as such?
No doubt. Of course, we know that 2 days ago was the 54-year assassination of the great Martin Luther King, and today, 54 years afterwards, little Bobby Hutton, 2 days after the assassination of Martin Luther King, 17-year-old little Bobby Hutton, who was the first member of the Black Panther Party, was murdered, assassinated by Oakland police. He was 17 years old. Him and Eldridge Cleaver was in a location together. The police rolled up, vamped on him, and Eldridge told him, he said, look, take your clothes off, because we want them to know that, we're unarmed, so on and so forth. So they walked outside, and when they walked outside, little Bobby Hutton was gunned down by police. They fired a dozen shots into him. Again, he was the first member of the Black Panther Party, and he was also the first member to be assassinated. So after that particular situation, of course, we already knew that, first of all, the audacity of them murdering a young Panther and trying to assassinate Eldridge as well, 2 days after the Martin situation. We already knew that the cities were already aflame, and we knew that things were going down. So your favorite white guy, Marlon Brando, made a call to the Black Panther Party headquarters and offered to give them guns because of the fact that he said that he was sick of this bullshit. And he ended up attending and speaking at little Bobby Hutton's funeral. Again, today is little Bobby Hutton Day, so we salute little Bobby Hutton. 54 years later, he was a 17-year-old cat, and a lot of times folks don't hear about Bobby. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely want to, big Bobby Hutton up today.
Right on. And I know they try to draw that distinction when he and Eldridge came out, and he didn't want to strip all the way down. So they try to say because his underwear was still on or something to that effect. That was some sort of part of the excuse to do what they did. But
as if he needed to be gunned down anyway, with or without clothes.
That's what. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, so definitely
thank you for that, Kalonji. And you know what? I mean, that just makes me think of so many Black people who were murdered by police, choked out by police, shot by police in decades past, whose names that we don't know. You know what I mean? Like in the modern day, people tragically turn into hashtags, but at least you can search a hashtag and find someone's name. Back in those days, no, I won't say totally back in those days, obviously Bobby Hutton was assassinated and murdered by the police. But the question that some people in our community would always ask if somebody was murdered by the police, what did they do wrong? Why was they running? Why did they do X, Y, Z? And we don't know those names to the extent that we should. So I appreciate you lifting up Bobby Hutton's name today for that, Kalonji.
No doubt. And just to point out, over 2,000 people attended his funeral, including, I mentioned Marlon Brando, but James Baldwin was also one of the people that attended and spoke at his funeral. So, I mean, the fact that, so that shows the caliber of the individual and also the Panther Party itself. But it also shows how the state does a great job of covering things up because, like you just said, everybody should know who Bobby Hutton is. I was out in Oakland when they renamed this park Bobby Hutton Park. I believe that's the name of it, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember they had a little Bobby Hutton Day when we was out there for the 40th anniversary of the Black Panther Party, I believe. But definitely, no little Bobby Hutton. I believe he was the first treasurer as well for the Black Panther Party. But 17, like I said, so for folks who talk that trash, like I'm too young or whatever, so on and so forth, you're never too young to get involved in our people's liberation. So,
and I would just want to add that it's in terms of the fear that level of organization, analysis, and activity inspires in the state and this society is not blunted at all by the age of the participant. So even at a 17, nobody looked at this 17-year-old was like, he's just a kid, let's let him, blah, blah, blah. No, he was seen as just as much a threat as anybody else for heading in that direction. And that's why the fifth tenet of COINTELPRO says, got to make sure these Black youth don't go in this direction.
Right. And it's also part of the reason why with the Black Panther Party, I forget the number of weeks, but I believe it's either 8 to 12 or something like that. You had to have so many weeks of political education, so many months of political education before you even considered picking up a gun. And that part is important because it's one thing to study, but it's another thing to have study groups and to be on the same page. The problem we have today is there's so many different ideologies and school of thoughts and so on and so forth that we're busy arguing about what you feel came first, the chicken or the egg. The fact is, we all agree that we are at war. We all agree that there is a system that is designed to destroy us. Now, whether you want to call yourself a socialist or a communist or a nationalist, whatever the hell you call yourself, when they see you out in those streets, as they say, you still nigga. They ain't gonna be like, oh, don't kill him. He's just a Methodist preacher. You know what I'm saying? Dr. King proved that, because if you talking about someone that's non-threatening, I mean, you couldn't get no more non-threatening than Dr. King.
Except for it, but that's the point. Except for those ideas he kept wanting to work with.
Absolutely, the weapon he had,
he kept messing up.
Right.
You know, we've been working with, obviously, and supporting Dhoruba bin Wahad, speaking of which, for a long time. And in one of the interviews that he did with us, we titled the video something like "BLM is Black Liberation Movement, not Black Lives Matter."
That's right.
So I think so, you know, in starting with Bobby Hutton and commemorating Bobby Hutton Day and coming out of that Black liberation movement, I think it's an important juxtaposition in many ways to one of the stories we have this morning from April 4th. Black Lives Matter secretly bought a $6 million house. Allies and critics alike have questioned where the organization's money has gone. So, I mean, I don't want to get myself in trouble, because the one time I got hemmed up on Twitter was when I posted a picture of Asada next to Beyonce after that Super Bowl, and I just said, if Beyonce is a Black revolutionary, then what is Asada?
Man, listen.
And I've honestly never. I wasn't
wrong
ready.
Platform for that, pimp.
Hey, man.
Put that on Facebook.
Yeah, no, I should just kept it to myself and whispered it to my friend.
I
was not ready for that.
But to quote my man Chairman Fred Jr., you know what I'm saying? All these folks talking about they are underground. If they're underground, then we must be groundhogs. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. You know, I get confused sometime out here.
Slim, $6 million for a mansion, and the statement that Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation released said that no, this is a space for creators. This is a space where people can come and unwind and relax in our 6-bedroom, 6-bath mansion in the valley with an indoor pool. You know what I mean? It's like, but $6 million would have went a long way in the actual hood. I'm sure $6 million would have went way farther in Compton than it did in the Valley. And that's bullshit to begin with. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jarrod, with your story, because I don't know whether or not to laugh or cry. When
I don't know why Biggie's playing in my head right now. All I'm hearing is Ski Mask Wave with the ransom note. That just keep popping in my head, man.
That's funny, because I heard DMX's Ski Mask for it, baby.
You know what? And I also got DMX's "Y'all been eating long enough now. Stop being greedy. Keep real, partner. Give to the
people.
The importance of political education, man. Because I mean,
diamonds.
Man, look here, man. Look, man, listen. If I could run around the way I want to on some revolutionary shit, a lot of y'all be mad, and a lot of folks would be tucking their chains. I'm gonna just say that. You know what I'm saying? You definitely will be running the jewels, because you ain't gonna be in no $6 million house talking about you doing some type of little community thing, and the community's not invited, and that's just one of the houses. So come on now.
That's my question. I'm like, is this house for the community? Can you get to it on the bus? Or do you need a car to get out there? Because if it's not public transit accessible, then I don't think it's for the community.
Man, listen, 6
When
baths.
I saw Patrice Cullors on her do that Mark Lamont Hill interview last year, they did what I'm seeing happen in this article too, which was this framing of the critique of BLM and their behavior as a right-wing media issue.
I'm sorry.
You know, and then the one reference to left criticism was some vague reference to Marxists who would be critical of Patrice, you know, and her spending and whatnot, spending choices and whatnot. But it you know, so anyway, I don't have that much to say about the story. I haven't read it thoroughly, so it's just
well, I have lots of questions for Kalonji as an organizer, because I have the questions here, Kalonji, because you know what's been alleged obviously is that they pulled in $90 million in donations in 2020, and then we're kind of seeing the irresponsible ways, I suppose, in which some of these monies are being spent in the form of this $6 million mansion. A number of BLM local chapters signed a couple of letters demanding more accountability and financial transparency. But Kalonji, like some of the criticism about BLM Global Network Foundation and the way that they move is that they emphasize more so digital engagement and fundraising and trying to move people, towards linking up with foundations and other power brokers, and less engagement on the streets, on the ground. Why is digital organizing perhaps less effective or not as strong as actually getting into the streets and trying to organize people face to face?
I think it's a double-edged sword. For one, I would say that I don't necessarily knock digital organizing altogether, because of the fact that even with what we're doing right now, we're able to reach more people, masses, so on and so forth. I prefer face-to-face. Why? Because of the fact that you can deal with any contradictions head up, straight up and down, right in the face. You got to face what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? So the accountability and everything is up close and personal. Online, you could pop that shit and keep on moving. You know what I'm saying? You can go back in your $6 million mansion and don't have to say anything. But when you're walking through the streets of Harlem, when you're walking through the streets of Chicago or LA or Oakland, Atlanta, anywhere, you have to, folks are going to question you. They're going, hey man, you got $90 million. What's going on, man? You riding through here in this $300,000 car?
Tesla. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we hungry out here. What's the deal? Right. So but like I said, it's safer. It's safer when you are online, and it's you can be as irresponsible as you want to. You can just pop up and claim other people's shit, and it's a lot of that going on, and it's not just BLM. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of other organizations who even not BLM, who I see doing the same type shit, and a lot of these folks, unfortunately, we're in a strange time, a strange era. We're in an era where folks want to call themselves quote unquote revolutionaries, but at the same time they want to appease. They want to not step on any toes. They don't want to hurt anyone's feelings because of the fact that they want to act like it's some all-inclusive movement. I'm not with that shit. You know what I'm saying? Our position is this: we respect the white left for what you do, right? But you don't run shit. You know what I'm saying? You can come on board, you can get down with what it is, whatever it is we doing publicly, but you don't run shit. You fall in line. I don't give a fuck what you read. I don't give a fuck where you came from. When we talking about our people's struggle, as the comrade says, we are the OVs. We're the original victims of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So we feel it's only right that we lead ourselves up out of here. But when you have trash like these folks right here, who are basically sticking folks up and are using white guilt and all that other shit to empower themselves, then we have a problem, and it should be questioned, and folks need to shut that shit down.
How do you do
I think you're all being unfair, though. I think you're all being unfair because these women, as the story says, were gathered in person, not digitally, not virtually. They were gathered in person to sit in front of a house that's 6,500 square feet with more than half a dozen bedrooms and bathrooms, several fireplaces, a soundstage, a
parking
pool,
for 20
and
cars.
A bungalow, and parking for 20 cars. So
just to be fair,
but they were in person. They weren't online when they had that meeting. They sat there on that patio in person. So
they were in person with each other. They weren't in person with you or I. They weren't in person with Kim, and they would never be. And it's unfortunate. We know a lot of these folks that are involved in some of these pyramid schemes. You know what I'm saying? These grave robbers, and I call them grave robbers because of the fact that people were being murdered, people were being assassinated and brutalized and terrorized, and you motherfuckers are making a buck off that shit. I think that shit is an atrocity. I think it's criminal, and I think that they should be charged with ancestral treason. And I think that folks need to step up, because we can shut it down. But the problem is we're not in these little ass spaces, and we're not confronting these folks. We have to be wherever they are, wherever they at. We find out they got a $6 million house, just like you boycott in front of the governor's mansion, boycott in front of their mansions.
Let me shout out to Ferguson, though. Ferguson has been on this. Anytime one of those, grifters come to town, Ferguson shows up to shut shit down in St. Louis. Like, Ferguson don't play that shit. Ferguson remembers, you know what I'm saying? Ferguson remembers every single phony face that came through there in 2014, 2015, grabbed the bag and dipped, and ain't been back to Ferguson since. So, yeah, that there are people out there who will confront these folks. The problem is, when they move in $6 million neighborhoods, they are less likely to be confronted by the community, because the community of which they claim to serve ain't where they live now. It's not in a zip code. So how do we shut them down, Kalonji? Is it just a matter of discrediting them amongst our peer circle and amongst our professional groups? Like, man, don't fuck with BLM. They not really on the up and up. Like, how do we accomplish this?
Start with the grassroots organizations that co-sign them, because none of this shit can exist without someone co-signing them. You understand what I'm saying? So sign with the traitorous motherfuckers amongst us that saying they're cool, because of the fact that within movement, within any serious structure and organization, you have to be able to, you have to have some type of backstory. You have to have some type of resume. So who's co-signing for them? Start with them. You know what I'm saying? And remind folks, you the one said, if I bring someone to the platform that turns out to be the police, you understand what I'm saying? Then it's my responsibility, because you co-signed for them. You understand what I'm saying? You said they was cool, so everyone followed this person because of you. So we start with on that particular level, and then have them denounce them. You know what I'm saying? And then whenever they surface, if the media is talking about them, one thing that I respect about the quote unquote Jewish community, they will put out a full page ad in whatever newspaper saying we denounce such and such, this, that, so on and so forth. We have to do similar shit. We have to out-organize them, and we got to use our propaganda in every particular level we can. And folks like us who have these particular platforms, we have different allies that have other platforms. We have to have a united front. Whenever we put out a position, that position has to go across the board. If you say you against this shit, this is we all signing against this, and we all running in this particular level. You know what I'm saying? Not I'm gonna bring them on my platform and I'm gonna be nice to them because of the fact that they said they'll donate $10,000, so it's my shit. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody got to be put in check. The accountability and responsibilities across the board.
I would just want to add very quickly that we have to be more willing to take the barbs and the shots for being critical of popular people, which is not easily done, speaking for myself. And then we should support those who do. So we should support those like the BLM 10. Please go, if you haven't already, or revisit the video where we spoke with them and listen to them lay out their arguments and their criticisms from people working within these organizations or trying to do work under the umbrella of these labels that whose work is discredited or demeaned or diminished because of the actions of the leadership. But I do think that is a major problem. Yeah, no. What they did was great, and I'm glad that they were willing to come on with us and talk about it. And we have to be here and continue to support them. But I do think, I was speaking for myself here, it is very difficult. I've been in rooms with some of these people. I've even myself spoken up against some of what was being said in these rooms, and it is very difficult to withstand the zeitgeist in the space, or more broadly speaking, to withstand all of the overwhelming vibe, if not direct rebuking of that in defense of the symbol of what they claim to be doing. And that, so I think it's hard to do that, and it's hard to anyway. So
yeah,
I think we need to be more willing to do.
But and I agree with you, Jared. The problem with that was in the beginning. See, the thing is that the state manipulates and capitalism manipulates in such a manner, in such a way that it would take your shit and make you think that it's working in your interest. So what happened was there was a quote unquote division, because what happened was you had some of the quote unquote elders and some of the youth saying that the elders were attacking the youth and they're just trying to do their thing and so on and so forth. But many of the unseasoned organizers, what they did not know and did not understand was that that there has to be some type of structure. You understand what I'm saying? We just can't. The movement is not a water thing. It's I mean, you know, we could transform to ice, and we could change the ice and all this other shit, solid, liquid, gas. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to understand who and what we're dealing with. We have to be able to understand that there's no such thing as a quote unquote leaderless movement. You know what I'm saying? Because when you have a quote unquote leaderless movement, you have so many people coming with their ideas, their thoughts, and all that type shit, and it'll be mass confusion. So you need some type of, as we talked about yesterday, some type of point people. These are the people that we're going to position on this, and we agree on it. These are the people that are going to speak on these issues, and we agree on it. You know what I'm saying? If Daruba's in the room and it's the four of us, we can shut the fuck up and go ahead and let Daruba speak, because we know that he has his politics is on point, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Now, if Balagoon's in the room, you're not going to listen to me about fighting, because of the fact that this is what he do. He's been doing that shit damn near 50 years. I could fight, but everybody can't win. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to be clear on how we maneuver, and we have to be able to, set aside our egos, because ego is what crushes movements. Our egos is what has stopped us, because of the fact that we're automatically looking to disagree. We're not even trying to hear folks out. Like, I don't agree with that. I ain't finished talking, motherfucker. But you know,
what did Q-Tip say? Ego will have you creating words like vibrant.
Yeah, and get away with it.
Speaking of having the ego,
speaking of vibrant,
speaking of vibrant and remixes, we got the Ear Doctor back in the theater.
Dizzle.
Hey, I'm known to come up with some words my own, you know.
Bullshit.
One or
the
two.
Sign of a creative mind, Ear Doctor. That is the sign of genius, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. That's Ebonics. We've been doing it for a while.
Don't do Ebonics like that.
Brown University education.
That's Earbonics. That's you.
I like that. I'll trademark that one.
Thank you.
Come out.
Go ahead.
So y'all see me sitting in the theater. We're gonna do an artist spotlight, but this person is big on the big screen, music, and on the stage. So let's get into it, and I'll tell you how I'm talking about it in a minute. Let's get it.
Do it.
Remix.
Oh, I like that mug.
All right. What's good, everybody? Welcome out once again to the Remix Morning Show. At this time, I wanted to give an artist spotlight on a sister that's been putting in that work for a long, long time. Who am I talking about right now? I'm talking about no other than Irene Cara. Irene Cara, born 1959. She's known as she is a singer, a songwriter, a dancer, an actress. She sang and co-wrote the song Flashdance, What a Feeling, from the film Flashdance, where she won an Academy Award for Best Original Song and Grammy Award for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. In 1984, Cara is also known for playing the role of Coco Hernandez in the 1980 film Fame, and for recording the film's title song Fame. Prior to her success with Fame, Cara portrayed the title character Sparkle Williams in the original 1976 musical drama film Sparkle. That's right. She's been doing it on the scene with Billy D and all the great ones. The dope thing about Irene is she comes from, well, that's one of the dope things. Puerto Rican and Cuban parents, came over here, and she started off as Little Miss America pageants. That's what she got into. She was young. She studied piano, learned it by ear, studied music, acting, and dance, and took it seriously at the age of 5. And started performing on Spanish language television, professionally singing and dancing. She was on the original Amateur Hour, singing on Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. She was also on Electric Company. Y'all remember the Electric Company? Yeah, she did that. She was also in that band, The Short Circus. And she recorded some Spanish albums. Listen, she also has, if we even talking about music, she got like 3 studio albums. Anyone Can See, What a Feeling, and Charismatic. She's she's been on stages. She has a lot of dope stage shows. I mean, if you even to track them down, she has at least 8 stage shows, going from Maggie Flynn to Me Nobody Knows. She's been with a bunch of different great actors. She got a bunch of nice singles and soundtracks. You might have seen her on the DC Cab when she was in the movie with Mr. T and all them, and she actually sang the ending song of that. Irene Cara has Academy Awards, Grammy Awards, Golden Globe Awards. A lot of people don't know she put in a lot of work. So I got to give it up. Big up to Irene Cara. She's also done a lot of good films, even when you're talking about, she did something with Maya Angelou. Did a remake about Medgar Everett's wife. So that came out. She's done a lot of work, y'all. Check out Irene Cara. Like I said, one of my favorite songs, What a Feeling. That's right. Big up to Irene Cara. Now, let's take it back to the morning show.
Hey, yo, thank you for that. But I'm not gonna lie, I got stuck on when the ear doctor said Irene Cara.
Yeah.
Yo, I had such a crush on Irene Cara, as a lot of us did.
Man, listen, dude. If Irene Cara, born in 1959, would have pulled up on your young ass, first of all, she'd have been R. Kelly in it. But secondly, you would have lost your goddamn mind. You would have knew what to do. You'd have been like, "Oh, what a feeling!"
Oh yeah.
You've been out of here, brother. So,
y'all remember how big Fame was? Man, that was the show back then.
Yeah, definitely.
What came first, the TV show or the movie? Well, it was the movie first, and then it was a TV show.
Yeah, I think so, right? Yeah.
It was the movie, then the TV show.
Yeah.
Because it was a play originally, right?
Yeah,
that was
not the old fake TV show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, they had a newer fake TV show. Yeah, but the old one.
I didn't realize this, and I didn't remember it the first time I saw it. But we watched for my hip hop class recently. I think the freshest kids documentary about the history of hip hop and breakdancing, and there's a part in the documentary where they talk about the rise of the popularity of the b-boy, b-girl phenomenon, breakdancing, and they talked about the scene at the beginning of that Flashdance movie where the New York City Breakers, I think it was New York City Breakers, or maybe it was Rocksteady Crew or whatever, but they were in that scene at the opening of the movie, and they talked about how during the shooting Jennifer Beals was real rude and distant, but when the film became a hit and the breakdancers themselves became a hit, she came around and was all up in the all huggy and lovey for the photo shoots and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it was interesting to be reminded of that so Flashdance was big for that. I know we talk about Fame, but Flashdance was big for promoting breakdancing or helping commercialize it, maybe a way.
She was in Roots too.
Who was in Roots?
Irene Cara.
Oh wow, really? I don't remember that.
You know who else was in Roots? Todd from The Boys.
You told us he was the baby.
Yeah, Todd was the baby. Yeah. Shout out to Todd. We gotta get him on here as well. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Well, that's your artist spotlight for the day. I'll catch you on next break.
Good job, there, Doctor. Hey, you pronounced the name right.
Shut up, Shush it.
Anyway, that's quiet. How much love he has for Irene Cara. He got her name right.
He went John Witherspoon. Yeah. Anyway, shout out to
go ahead.
To Roots. But anyway, go ahead.
No, there was a follow-up. Big ups to Erica for keeping us on this, because there was a follow-up to the story we mentioned yesterday about Elon Musk buying up a whole bunch of Twitter. He's actually joined the board of directors.
Yes. As if we didn't know that part, right? We didn't know that was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I didn't think of it. I didn't think about it, but it makes sense, and I'm sure he's plotting or scheming or whatever.
Already, y'all can see this writing on the wall. Listen, all y'all billionaire critique, all your little anti-war, anti-imperialist critique, that shit's about to get stifled more than it already has. I am not encouraged as a Twitter user that Elon Musk is part of the Twitter board. That to me, this sounds like a bunch of new censorship coming down the pike.
If you own a Tesla and you put out a bad tweet, your shit gonna get locked down. That's an unpredictable.
Well, it's saying here it's too soon to say how much influence Musk will have as a director. However, he recently blasted Twitter for allegedly falling short of free speech principles and asked the social sites users if they want an edit button. He clearly intends to make his presence felt, not to mention thumb his nose at the SEC for its crackdown against his finance related tweets. So
low hanging
is this so he's saying free speech for me to go at the SEC, but the rest of you are going to get put in some sort of slow lane. And what does the edit button mean? So you can edit your tweets? Is that what he's saying?
Yes, it's something that Twitter users have been asking for literally a decade, like probably a decade plus. People have been asking for this. So for Elon Musk to sort of put that out there as a feeler, hey guys, you think Twitter should have an edit button? People who are active users on Twitter have been calling for exactly this. So that was not like some sort of brave stance or some, hey, this is some brand new ideas that I have. Twitter should have an edit button. So I think people are really going to fall into this. Like, oh, Elon Musk is about to make sure that free speech reigns supreme on Twitter. I think the exact opposite is about to happen.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm struggling right now with the whole social media thing because I feel like it's such a serious control mechanism. You know what I'm saying? As far as thought and everything, and especially being anti-imperialist and anti-propaganda, we're seeing so much of this shit where they're creating the arguments. They're creating these quote unquote black civil wars. You know what I mean? And we're arguing about shit for weeks and weeks at a time. It's really sidetracking. So to me, I mean, that shit gets to me. I feel like, man, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for the work that we're doing, I'd probably be all the way off that shit. And I'm still trying to figure out how to just get some folks to run my shit because, I mean, it's a distraction from real work. I have too many real projects I'm working on to be arguing about the latest thing that Jada said or Chris said or Chris brother Kenny, and now we gotta go through all that bullshit. Like, come on, man. None of y'all gonna do shit. Everybody's trying to get some fame off of it. I mean, let's, please, but yeah, it's just my thing.
I don't know. I think Will Smith smacking Chris Rock is incredibly important. Like the biggest story ever, and we should be constantly talking about it. It means everything to everybody.
Yeah, everything to everybody.
Everything to everybody. Yeah. Just quickly, I don't pretend to know much about this either, but Bessie Coleman, world's bravest aviator to be honored this quarter, is another story we had here. I honestly do not know anything about this woman, so this is good for me to learn. I'm sorry.
I've seen the picture of her a lot. It's like a sepia toned picture, and she's got her aviator goggles, and she has a short hair. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
In the triumphant times of Bessie Coleman, Black people were inspired to reach their dreams, just as she did, soaring through the high skies as the first African American and first Native American woman pilot. Okay.
I didn't know she was a Native woman as well. Did they mention her tribal nation? I didn't know she was Native woman too.
Yeah, I haven't got. Yeah, so they're minting a coin for her. All right. So I guess what they really should be doing, if they really cared about her, is create an NFT in 2022. I don't know why.
Is that what they should do?
That's what they should do if they really cared about her. I don't see. Let me see. I'm gonna keep going here. I don't see. Airplane loop de loop. She did loop de loops.
Tay said that she is a Cherokee woman.
Okay, right on. All right, right on.
I mean, she also died at 34. She died pretty young.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, she definitely accomplish some things in a short life. But putting on a U.S. quarter, I don't know. We'd have to,
Who asked for that? Like who are the goofy niggas that are requesting that Black folks be put on currency? Like who are you?
Yeah, I mean, it
started with Oprah.
Nah, I think it's part of the era we're in right now. Let's prove that we love Black. You know what I'm saying? Black is cool. Black Lives Matter. Put Bessie Smith on the quarter. Yeah, shit like that. And so I mean I said Bessie Smith, Bessie Coleman. I keep talking about Bessie Smith, probably because we know more about Bessie Smith than Bessie Coleman.
It rolls off the tongue, right.
Yeah.
Speaking of they, well, at least nonsense rolling off the tongue. Apparently, Jen Psaki is planning to leave the White House this spring for an MSNBC gig. So this to me is perfect media studies 101 story. This is we've talked about the revolving door before in other instances. If this just doesn't continue to say it all about what MSNBC and mainstream media are here to be. This is it. So she's literally going from being the White House spokesperson to being the White House spokesperson.
Come on. Basically that. MSDNC is what the MSNBC. MSDNC. Yes, it is.
Scandal must not be on anymore. They probably would have gave her an acting job. You know what I'm saying? But
she, when I see her though, she seems like she would be perfect for a show like that. She seems scandalous. Yeah. I mean, she just comes off as like the Wicked Witch or whatever.
What's the other show with Kevin Spacey that they redid? That was British.
Yeah,
where he played the president.
Yeah. And I had actually seen the British original too, which I thought was really good. House of Cards.
Yeah, House of Cards. She looked like definitely she could be a part of House of Cards.
She should definitely be in that. Or they base characters on people like her.
And that's the thing, man. It's like, if you're a politician, you can actually become a quote unquote journalist or an analyst as soon as you get up out of that particular position. And if you're an actor, you can become a politician. So I mean, it's a wonderful,
And then the other beautiful part of it is that when those commercial media spaces further constrict and you lose that job, you can get hired at a huge salary to work at a university school of journalism and replace academics and have professors moved out.
Oh, I was about to say, are we talking about something specific? But yes, we are talking about something specific.
So years ago, so when I'm no longer in there, thankfully. I think we're all happy about that. But when I was in the School of Journalism, there was she's no longer there, but there was a former big time mainstream journalist and white woman, in fact, who was put in charge of the school's journalism publication. And she asked me to write an essay for the schools, to contribute as faculty were being asked. And I did. And one of the things that I put in there was I made reference to a Black press conference commentary from someone who was saying that they lamented the fact that Black journalists were being replaced by celebrities who were coming into TV jobs and taking the place of seasoned journalists. And I wrote that this paralleled what's happening in schools of journalism at universities, where formerly employed commercial mainstream journalists are coming into academic settings as the champion superstars pushing out actual academics. And that was edited out. That part was taken out of the piece that was finally published. So I just laughed and said it was just another perfect example of what I'm talking about.
So Jared, so you went from the School of Journalism to BPM. I mean, did you advance or were you demoted? I mean, like,
so
I like to know.
I call it a promotion.
So officially,
promotion,
so definitely a promotion.
I'm trying to gauge where I am
salary.
Yeah,
but that's actually, that parallels my career too. Promotions don't come with raises. But officially, I just got I guess what do they call it? A horizontal move to
lateral.
A lateral move, thank you, out of the School of Journalism and back to the College of Liberal Arts, specifically in the Black Studies program.
Can I ask you a question about journalism instruction at the university level, Jared? Because obviously I've been at a college for some time. And I don't know the ways in which young journalists are being trained, especially in the reframed era of hopefully not taking, for example, the police's word as the official statement. Because I still see journalists doing this routinely with regularity. Whatever the police accounting of any issue, be it something involving an incident with the public or having to do with their policy. For example, there's stories right now in DC. I talked about this on my show, where DC Mayor Muriel Bowser and DC's police chief are asking the DC City Council for an additional $30 million in funding on top of the $500 million that they already operate at. And the local stories, including the Washington Post and local TV affiliates here in DC, no one is asking the mayor or the police chief, how does this additional funding result in a reduction of crime? Like, this issue has been studied a lot. There's no correlation between increased police funding and a so-called decrease in violent crime. But are young journalists being trained to challenge the police? Because with the whole thing with propaganda, journalists are basically cop stenographers. Whatever the police say, we went to the press conference and the police chief said this, and then I go on TV at 5 o'clock and the police chief said, and that is the reporting, that is the journalism. But no one is asking questions to hold power accountable, or not even presenting some stories questioning the police narrative. It's almost like that's not even allowed. So are young journalists still being trained to accept the police, the police as an official source, and not to deviate from the official source's narrative or their statements of a thing?
I just, before I say anything else, I'll say, because I know you know what you're doing, that this isn't necessary for you, but I know that anyone wanting to get a more accurate understanding of anything should go beyond just one source. So my very biased and limited view of that question is that no, and obviously it depends on who you get for what class and when, but in general, I think the instruction in schools of journalism, which themselves were created initially by the mainstream industry, funded and supported by the mainstream industry, so that they didn't have to train people that they would eventually hire. They could externalize the cost. But for the most part, I don't think people are being trained to challenge anything, certainly not anything institutional at that level. They're being trained to get jobs and to maintain and hold jobs. Right. So what the most I think you might get in the training aspect of it would be to include the police officer's views, and then maybe include someone else's views, and then probably double back to reinforce the police officer's view to sort of bookend the story. But in terms of the point you're raising, no, I don't think people are being encouraged to that at all. In fact, one of the biggest problems that I had, both as a student in a school of journalism and then a professor in one, is that the same problem existed across mainstream white University of Maryland campuses to Morgan State HBCU campuses. And that is, the first thing to go is critical thinking, history, theory. The non-practical elements of journalism are the first thing to go, so that people are taught the process of putting a story together, but not necessarily the ability to understand the context in which the story is coming together, or the politics involved. So, or certainly the political economy involved.
But regardless, we got to keep in mind, I mean, first and foremost, we're up against white power media. So when you talk about mainstream media here in the United States, we know that it is the platform of the state. But not only that, I'm sure there are always good journalists that come along that want to report, so on and so forth, and be consistent and non-biased, unbiased, so on and so forth. But we have to keep in mind that, if you get a job at McDonald's and you're a master chef, you have to deal with what's on the menu. You know what I'm saying? It's not what,
you still got to make a Big Mac.
Yeah, I like to put some Sazon on my Big Mac, or I usually, I grill onions and, I saute my mushrooms. That shit don't go on there. That's not on the menu. So when we're dealing with the state's propaganda machine, what's on the menu is what you deal with. And if not, then you end up like homeboy over at the San Jose Mercury News, who committed suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head twice.
Gary Webb.
Exactly. So
by putting a note outside of his door, then going inside and shooting himself twice in the head.
In the back of the head. You know what I'm saying? He's a bad dude to be able to shoot your head. First of all, the fact that you shoot yourself once, but twice in the back of the head, and you don't have automatic. I mean, there's a serious suicide. So yes, he was
committed, Kalonji. He wanted to make sure it happened.
Wanted to make sure. He's like, you know what? I don't think
this
bullet
was a thorough journalist.
Hollow enough. Right. He's a thorough journalist. Right. Damn, but that's the thing, man. It's like we're looking, even with the positions that we have and our levels of political education, we still look at this shit through rose-colored lenses. We're still looking at it like, no, these motherfuckers cannot be that. There has to be a chance. And this party, if we just work this out, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Santa Claus is not coming to your house. It's not going to happen. If your mom don't buy your toys, then you're asked out. You know
Listen, just very quickly, I've said it before, but the conflict that we had with a previous dean some years ago was the first thing he did when he showed up was give everybody in all the faculty a copy of an article about a teaching hospital model. And he said, we're going to base our school of journalism on this model. And the point of the article was that if you're a hospital and you want funding and you want support, you will teach your doctors and your nurses the way the suppliers of your medical technology want you to teach. So that was what we were being told. To work here and thrive here, we're going to teach what the media industry wants their future hires to know. And that's it. And we're not interested in all that theory and history and critical this and whatever that. If they can't get a job at Fox, then we're not doing our job. That was the whole.
Please tell me that was not a direct quote.
It was a pretty close paraphrase. I mean, it was a pretty close paraphrase. It's not far off. And it was a repeated dictum. That's how you get funding. That's how you get, and that's what a lot of schools of journalism want. So you're not, and then if you make it through that with a critical lens, the people doing the hiring won't let you keep your job if you keep saying, maybe the police officer's view isn't
right.
It's not the one we want.
But another way they do it too, though, Jared, and I'm glad you pointed it out too, is even when they get both sides, they try to find the person that the victim's family. They find the drunk uncle. They find the cat that don't know anything about what's going on, and someone that's gonna go with, I told him to put the gun down, or I seen him looking upset, so on and so forth. So they're very shifty, shiesty, and manipulative when it comes to their work efforts as well. And one of the things we talked about yesterday, I think it was you, Jared, when we was talking about when they're questioning you about political education, when you're speaking in front of the camera, whatever, when you're speaking in front of the media,
right.
keeping your shit online and on task, because they will hit you and they'll try to throw you off. I remember being interviewed by this cat from Fox here in Atlanta on behalf of Imam Jamil. So while he's wiring us up, micing us up and everything, he's like, yeah, man, I love revolution. I'm Mexican and I was down with Mexican revolution, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting there listening to the dude. I'm like, dude, you work for Fox. I ain't even having this shit. As soon as they said go, is the mics on? They said the mics were on. First thing he said, so how does it feel supporting a cop killer? I'm like, I don't support the government. What are you talking about? So we just kept going back and forth. And no matter how he tried to box me in, I made sure that we stuck to the script, because they're going to edit it. They're going to try to remix it. And if you get hot, you get emotional, they're going to mix your shit and make it go a certain way. And it's not going to be to our advantage. So that's the important.
Can I circle back to something that you said, Kalonji, in terms of when the media, if there's a police involved incident or police have murdered somebody, for example, and they'll go find the drunk uncle or whatever, just because somebody is drunk does not make them a not credible witness. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen, for example, when Freddie Gray was murdered in Baltimore in 2015, Lots of local media outlets did this. There was a lot of people on the street out in West Baltimore that day. It was middle of the day. A lot of people saw what happened to Freddie Gray, but the media did not, and I say local TV media specifically, and perhaps even the Baltimore Sun by extension, they did not talk to these people because they, as white journalists, did not find local Baltimore residents to be credible, right? Like, just they was out drinking that day. Oh, well, we can't listen to what, what Calvin had to say because
let me
Calvin
correct that.
had been to the liquor store. You know what I'm saying? So just because our people, if they are not the most presentable of people, does not make them not credible. You know what I mean?
No, that's not what I mean at all. Because I in the more the words of Cara Rest, I hang with the rich and I work for the poor, meaning I'm around quote unquote alcoholics, so on and so forth. So that wasn't the correct analogy. What I'm trying to say is they'll go to the most apolitical person. They'll go to someone who has no knowledge of what's really going on and make them think, okay, this cat right here, he's a American slave. He has this red, white, and blue bandana wrapped around his head. He got his pants hanging down to his shoes, and he just want to be on TV. You understand? There's always someone that just wants to be in front of the camera, even though they don't have shit to say. So I'm talking about those folks. I'm not just saying just because you're drunk or whatever, because I mean, shit, you can catch Jared coming out the bar, and it don't mean his politics ain't it.
No, I got you. No, I just want to be clear, like that is one way that journalism dies, is because journalists themselves, usually based on their race and gender and class, will eliminate the credibility of people based on their own personal biases. You know what I mean? So, and that is where the truth often dies, because that's where the police accounting is given so much more weight than regular folks who may have witnessed or observed the incident or have some sort of knowledge about it. So that's the insidious ways in which racism in journalism can always make sure that the police accounting of the tale is the only accounting that is given the proper weight and recognition.
And that's why we say FTP. Fuck the police and fuck the press. Go ahead,
that's
Jared.
right.
No, all day. It just reminded me years ago when I was with WPFW. Shout out to WPFW. Man, one of my favorite things to do at the time, still living in DC, and at the time, particularly in Northeast, when they would have these big white, because DC is the hotbed for all the marches. So white people come from all over the world, start marching and doing all this stuff. And I remember one time, well, a couple times, but one time in particular, I went and I would do interviews with at this time Northeast Black residents who were not involved with any of these monument-based marches. And I caught a couple times, you catch people, you're doing the in the street stuff, and you catch people. One time, I remember this brother was he was smacking on his chicken while we were doing the interview, but he was killing it with his analysis was great. He was basically saying, fuck all that, they don't do nothing for us, da da da. And when I played it on air, I got so many calls. It was almost like when we were playing the critiques of Obama, and people were like, you making us look bad. Why are you getting him? Why are you interviewing these people? Why? And I was like, damn. But I was like, first of all, I caught him on his lunch break. He was working. Like he didn't have time to stop eating for me to put it. I was like, but listen what he's saying. Anyway, it was just a reminder of that. That's all. We got a couple issues of class to deal with it in our press work.
Speaking of class.
But anyway, speaking of class,
man with all the class,
got all the class,
all of it.
Fat Albert would say like, NC, no class, but this brother.
Well, I was going to say you definitely not like school on Sunday because you got all the class.
This brother Earbonics himself.
That's right. Come to Sundays and get school. We got school on Sundays. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you got a banger coming up too.
Hey, that's right. In case y'all didn't know, we got that big one coming up this Sundays. It's gonna be Cool G Rap and Rakim Allah, the God. So
and you know what? For a fee, if you all want to put it in it, we might get Cool G Rap and Rakim to come in person.
How much? How much? Take my money. How much?
Put some money on it. Put some dollars
on it. I definitely.
You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't be ready for that. I don't even think they'd appreciate it, man.
Shit, I would appreciate it. How much?
Who's the they? What they?
Name the price.
Well, yo,
the doctor said I would appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, so let's go ahead and get to. I actually want to do a Black Power Media flashback and put y'all on to something y'all might not seen, but y'all about to find out.
I gotta get my mug. This cat right here, man. You know.
I know, right?
Remix morning show.
All right. What's good, everybody out there? This is Black Power Media. At this time, I wanted to do a flashback. That's right. We are going to do a flashback to a certain episode. I wanted to start talking about nutrition. And there was a certain episode where one of the warrior class members, Amanika, talked about what you should have in your bag when it talks about herbs, when it talks about what types of foods you should have. In case something goes down, you should be ready. So let's go to this one on warrior class and see what she has to say.
This one is a beef stew, MRE. These are very important. They last for years. One thing with your bug out bag as far as the food goes is you want to be every 6 months or so going in and checking and making sure that food hasn't expired, that it looks good visually if it's something that you can see. If it doesn't, then you need to replace it so that you can make sure that you're prepared. Again, not rushing around when things actually happen. So this is the beef stew MRE. In addition to that, we also have a vegetarian MRE. So there are vegetarians out there who are concerned with, making sure that you can maintain your diet if you can during an emergency. Then this is something that would be important to you. So this is Italian style pasta with beans. And it is vegetarian. It's not vegan. It has eggs, milk, soy, and meat. But when I am vegan, I have been vegan for over 11 years. If something happened, I would eat whatever I could until I could get back to veganism, and however long that took. So that's something that we need to be mentally prepared for, is surviving as far as food goes, which I don't think will actually be a big problem with people, because I think most people are going to eat whatever they're able to eat. We talked about the difference between bugging out and bugging in. Bugging out is you having to leave your home. Bugging in is you having to stay in your home for a certain period of time. Obviously, those are going to be two different things as far as being able to carry things such as like canned goods, preserves. Canned goods are good, and they last for a long time. So do preserves, but those things I would say I would only recommend if you're actually bugging in, staying in your house. If you don't have anything else, though, then you should take that. And when you have things like cans, you have to make sure that you have a can opener. There is a video on YouTube, and it's a pretty simple explanation. You don't necessarily always have to have a can opener, but if you have a smooth, flat rock that you can rub a can on pretty profusely, eventually you can break the seal on the can and just pull the top off.
Yes. You somewhat muted, my man, but
all right.
good.
Yeah, there we go. We are back.
Hey, shout out to
host, and that's the bug out bag.
Let's go.
Y'all got what y'all need in that bag, so y'all can get through whatever.
That's
and
real.
You can get it from our organization. Omanike is a part of the organization, and shout out to our comrade Balogun in the chat. We co-chair the Urban Survival Preparedness Institute, which is a part of the CIFU movement, and we actually have bags that you can purchase if you like, already made, ready-made bags.
Drop that link, Chief. What's the link?
Yes, we will get it to you. Go to thepeoplesarmy.org, thepeoplesarmy.org, and leave a message, and we'll get you the information you need. Or go to African Martial Arts Institute on Instagram, or FTP Movement on Instagram, or Urban Survival Preparedness Institute on Instagram, and we will make sure that we can get you a price list. We'll get that link up, and we'll let you know what's going on.
We have you out here.
Doctor felt safe as I don't know what when you saw Omanique at the joint last
I
night.
know. I was like, yo, go down tonight. I was like, listen, I know where I'm going. I'm going up front. I know.
You saw her last night, you said?
She might have a can of spinach like Popeye, just like just going down.
Yeah, doctor's like, Omanique, help.
Word. So
I'd have been the same way. I'd be a little more bass about voice, but I've been saying this. Omanique, help.
Like, help. At least play it off. Like, yo, let's get him.
Like, let him have it, Omanique. I'm a vegan too, but trust me, that's not gonna stop me from eating.
Hey man, listen. If things go down, and that's one of the things that we go over as well, man, because like you said yesterday, folks talking about Bitcoins and all this other shit, that sound good, but when the shit go down, that's the last thing you're gonna be thinking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be trying to save that battery, if the battery to the phone, if you're still getting some type of signal. So
and just as a callback to earlier in the show, ski mask for it, baby.
Listen, when the society collapses, a lot of people are gonna be fucked up because niggas gonna be stuck in the metaverse, like confused. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean I can't use Bitcoin to buy some fake food?
Hey,
man, listen.
If you want to meet somebody wealthy, show me their freezer that's in the garage full of food and a gas tank and some extra gas in the gas can, and that's wealth right there.
Generator.
So that's funny because I know I'm from these tree-lined streets, but the first thing I think of is exactly. I don't need to have it. Just show me where it's at. Show me who's wealthy and got it. I'll be good.
and also, I'm gonna make a recommendation as well. Balagoon has a powerful book out as well, dealing with a USPI manual, Urban Survival Preparedness. Balagoon, you could put in the chat the proper title, because Balagoon has about 30-something books out, by the way, for folks who are unaware. I mean, I'm talking about everything from urban survival to African martial arts to black sci-fi, you know, so he's not just
we need a special on that.
Ass. Oh yeah.
We need a whole special on Balagoon. We need a Balagoon Books Day.
A biography on Balagoon. I want to hear Balagoon's whole life story, because that time he told us when he was growing up in Chicago as a teenager and this girl came up and slapped him in his jewels. I'm like, damn, shorty, you grew up rough. It was rough out there in the shy.
We will be having a special. He's going in his
starter.
Huh? Well, he's going on his 50th year training.
Oh wow.
Very soon, I believe next month. So
how is that even possible? He don't look a day over 50.
Well, I mean, he learned from his Baba, who was a martial artist as well. You know, so he's been whooping ass as long as he could walk.
The only time Baba
Balagoon, I was trying to give Balagoon a compliment on how well maintained he is.
No, the only time his age shows is when he's all up on the camera like this, looking at something. He's like, where that button? And that's the only time the age shows, but that's it.
Nigga, I do that doubt. Shit.
That's your Black Power Media flashback. I'll catch y'all next time.
Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. I do that too. I'm talking trash. I got the bifocals and I'm constantly like this now. I'm like,
how you work the interwebs?
It's a mess. I'm constantly, you gotta constantly go like this to get the right.
Anyway. Listen.
Yeah. That's the name of the manual right there. USPI.
Oh, my bad.
Urban Self-Defense Manual.
Wonderful. Is that available for purchase too online?
It is. So you can, I believe you can get that wherever you can buy your books at, period.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
So definitely Google his name and check out. He has some awesome books and, you know, characters and board games and a little bit of everything going on.
Yeah.
You know, films, the whole nine.
Buy multiple copies of the USPI Urban Self-Defense Manual. Like, give them joints as gifts. It's Mother's Day is coming up. Give one to your mama, your grandmama. Yes. Everybody needs this information, y'all, because
full breakdown of what you need.
Not looking good. It's not looking good out here.
Yeah. So I do have there's at least one more story I'd like to get to a little bit that I saw on my new favorite white man's outlet. R.M. Brown, but and I'm not gonna play stuff from him. I do encourage people to check out.
Wait, Jared, wait a minute though.
What happened to Jimmy Dore?
How do you? I mean,
Jimmy Dore got replaced. Like it's been like almost a year already.
I
mean,
he's been about at least 9 months. How often do you switch favorite white men? I'm trying to figure out. Like,
but this I don't know. I've been rocking with R.M. Brown for a few months now, so he might. Okay. This is a minute now.
Is he related to Barrett?
He's got a rotation.
To Barrett or no?
No, not that I'm aware of. Although Barrett might be, and Barrett's coming back in a couple of weeks. By the way, he got some more big stuff going on that we're going to talk about. But
Aaron Mate was in your top 3, top 3 favorite white men.
We need a show on Jared's favorite white men. We ain't doing a BPM though. So it's Black Power. No, that's gonna be our mix. What I like. But go ahead.
I do. Yeah, I'll do a top 5 favorite whites.
Okay.
The
whites.
But
you gotta put Franny French on there because she's
of course.
No doubt. No question.
Gotta put Big Pun Silberg. Got to be on it. Top 5 at least.
Yes, they are.
No question. You know what? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult list to put together. I mean, there's so much competition. Is
it that much competition, really? I don't think
it really is. There's so many, Kim. There's so many. But this one here. So in this one here, he does a little bit of a segment on the return of Howard Schultz to Starbucks. And I don't know if you all had heard. I had not heard what Schultz has been saying, but this right here is a couple pieces. I just wanted to play a couple of these clips here to get our thoughts on it.
Because
is it Charles Schultz?
But I do want to talk about something pretty serious
because he is nuts.
We can't ignore what is happening in the country as it relates to companies throughout the country being assaulted in many ways by the threat of unionization.
Being assaulted.
Man, I gotta say, this is a real flashback.
All right, so that was one part of it. I and I gotta say, Brad, this dude is funny to me. He cracks me up. But I just really wanted to play the clips from Schultz because now he's comparing. You'll see.
Who got the blanket had to decide what to do with this
because he's talking about anyway.
Who got the blanket?
Talking about anyway.
Had to decide what to do with this blanket that I have for myself. And not everyone, but most people shared their blanket with 5 other people. And the rabbi says to me, take your blanket and go share it with 5 other people. And so much of that story is threaded into what we have tried to do at Starbucks, is share our blanket.
So
they shared blankets with the natives and they had smallpox on it. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was listening.
No, I mean, there is no.
About Linus.
That's what I'm saying. This dude, we wish it was Charles Schultz because this dude is nuts.
We wish he was Linus too with his blanket.
Right. I mean, it's the point obviously that he's making here is that in response to all the attempts to unionize labor within Starbucks, this guy comes back out of, I don't know, semi-retirement or whatever he was doing to take leadership at Starbucks. And he comes back with this whole thing of we're being assaulted by unionists. And the way and it's unnecessary because we at Starbucks have been providing for people the way Jews in the Holocaust were providing for one another to get through the Nazis. I mean, this is why one of my other favorite white men, Norman Finkelstein, has written about the Holocaust industry and called out these hustlers who abuse that history and make these ridiculous comparisons to get away with their neoliberal, neo-colonial politics. I mean, the joint is, oh man. So that was really.
What's his position in Starbucks again?
He's a CEO.
CEO, yeah,
and he's worth $4 billion. And Starbucks has now, at least the Starbucks Workers Union has successfully organized 10 Starbucks locations. Friday, the same day that the Amazon Labor Union in Staten Island won their union election, the Roastery, I believe this is in Manhattan, also became unionized on the same day in New York City. So it was a big day for labor news out of New York on Friday. But the most recent news is that a Scottsdale area Starbucks, which I believe was voting to unionize yesterday, on Monday fired their main organizer, the main person who was working at this Scottsdale Starbucks location who was organizing workers. 19-year-old Layla Dalton was fired. Now, this after Layla had been working as a Starbucks partner for 3 years. She had been trying to organize her coworkers. In fact, Starbucks about 6 months ago had retaliated against her, tried to get her to quit, wrote her up on a whole bunch of bogus violations of her job, trying to force her to quit. And the National Labor Relations Board actually got with Starbucks to the extent, I guess, the NLRB can get with any corporation, but they reprimanded Starbucks for their retaliation against Layla, and Starbucks fired her anyway, the day before her store was set to vote. So for Howard Schultz, worth $4 billion fucking dollars, to come up there and talk about that unionists are assaulting Starbucks's enormous bottom line somehow by demanding fair wages and better working conditions is all the more reason why we need to be outside his house with the barbecue, with the charcoal, with the barbecue sauce, and ready to eat his ass up. It's pretty outrageous. But the union's efforts, my God, don't you? I mean, Starbucks never had a store unionized ever before this year, and it's April, and they're already up to 10. With many more in the pipeline. So I can imagine the CEOs are frightened. They may have to give up some of them billions, baby. And then they scared. They don't even want to, they getting assaulted out here. Just the talk of it is assault.
This is wild. I mean, yeah, but definitely shout out to Chris Smalls and shout out to the woman you speaking on a few seconds ago, man. It's this is just it's amazing that the beautiful thing about folks like I'm about to call him Charles again.
Howard.
Folks about Howard the Duck. The beautiful thing is we get to see how fucking dumb they are. It's just like the insanity and you know what I mean? I love that. I love it when they get on there and talk the way they talk because it proves our point. Intelligence, and might, don't often, meet the same criteria. They don't often end up in the same place, but this is an amazing guy, man. So I hope he continues to be assaulted.
I don't look at that as a lack of intelligence. I think it's just the commitment to the evil, right? They're so dedicated to the greed that they will find ways to justify it in ways that make them the victim, right? I'm the one with $4 billion, but I am the one that's being victimized here.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's a lack of intelligence. I think that is an intentional misrepresentation of who is actually being harmed in this system of worker and CEO when it comes to Starbucks specifically. So it's intentional, man. And somehow, these corporations get people to sympathize with them. I see it all the time on local news. For example, today there are the heads of ExxonMobil and all the other gas companies are testifying on Capitol Hill today about the gas prices, and the fucking local ass reporters talking about, well, it's not really their fault that the gas prices are so high. It's not. Says who? Right. How do y'all figure it's not? I mean, the ways in which media and even regular people will jump to try to defend billionaires is something that will never not astonish me. It's pretty
right. And the regular people, unfortunately, they're following the media. So
totally.
It's the same. I mean, man, it's woo. I mean, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, damn, am I really woke, or should I take my ass back and take another nap? Because this is insanity.
Yeah.
The messaging is severe, and even to the point you're making there, Kim. The argument that amazingly, even my daughter's high school teacher opened his mouth to say in the classroom, sparking an aggressive response from me, he was trying to make the point to students in his high school classroom, the gas prices are going up because Obama and the Democrats had prevented the proper level of domestic production of oil.
Oh my God.
And extended the reliance on American oil accumulation from Saudi Arabia and where in the so-called Middle East. So, and of course, the fundamental point that I just reminded my daughter of is that if the oil were produced in this country, the oil that is produced in this country is used for sale abroad. So it isn't used for distribution here in such a way that would bring the prices down. They raise the prices because they want to raise the prices to keep their profits up. That's it.
That ignores Obama's record, by the way, of expanding fracking tremendously.
As he said himself, that he made oil people money. It also ignores OPEC's role in setting the prices too. But all of that is it's but the point I'm getting at is that this messaging that is so prevalent and where I hear you, Kim, on this point about it's not stupidity per se. It's a commitment to the messaging and the propaganda that they constantly have to find ridiculous ways to if not convince other people, to simply muddy the discussion. You start throwing in references to the Holocaust and blankets and all this other stuff and assaults by unionists and all this other stuff and allusions to communism here and there and all this other kinds of, and it's like, and people, you got to like, people kind of try to weave through all of that to say, I would just like a livable wage, please.
Right.
It's like they got to bob and weave all the the this and it's the communist and it's the unions and you like, hold up, nah, I just want to work. I got to take a Balagoon class just to get through.
Man, listen,
say I need a wage.
It's a whole lot of foreplay to just say you're about to be mind fucked. That's exactly what it is. It's a whole bunch of mammal jammer. We know what you want here. We know what the outcome is, and that's the job of platforms like BPM to sift through the bullshit and say,
the worst
listen,
part of it, it's not even climatic; it's anti-climatic.
Totally.
all that foreplay leading to nothing.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you guys this. I mean, in conversations with regular folks in your spheres, and I don't even know to the extent in which people are even paying attention, people who are not invested in the labor movement and who follow such particular issues. Because again, if you're looking for the labor beat to come out of your local newspaper or your local NBC affiliate, you will be waiting, right? So labor stories are not necessarily sexy. They don't get reported on a lot outside of the sort of left-leaning outlets that a lot of us definitely consume. So, I mean, are y'all hearing people talk about these issues, I guess, specifically related to like Starbucks and Amazon, and I guess the rise of the labor movement over the past couple of years, like people getting excited about unionizing and organizing again their workspaces? Are people discussing this amongst yourselves?
I mean, for me, yeah, because of the fact that I organized with SEIU back in the 90s, when I was teaching. So we're talking about probably for about 5-6 years. So I still have comrades who I'm in close relationship with in regards to organizing, especially around, schools and hospitals, so on and so forth. So, yeah. So, my email stays with the shit, as they say. You know what I mean? I'm getting all types of emails from all types of folks, and I'm looking to bring on some organizers who are more radical and cultured and understand, our particular position and role in this fight as well.
I have to say that for me, I mean, my only real constant exposure to people, quote unquote, outside my political bubble are my students and sometimes my faculty colleagues. And without me prompting it, I don't feel like they're that focused on the Starbucks, maybe the Amazon issue a little bit more. But sort of to the point that is being raised here, not a lot of the media that they encounter on a regular basis deals with this stuff. So, if I ask, what do you think about Chris Smalls, there might be, okay, I heard a little bit, but if, obviously if I said, what do you think about the latest, whoever, whatever, they're very much more in tune. But so honestly, yeah, I do exist socially and otherwise in a kind of limited bubble politically. So everybody in those circles is up on all of this. All my emails, you know, the same kind of like what Kalanji's saying. Everybody's aware, but outside of those, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Well, what I'm encouraged by is that I'm not hearing opposition, right? People may not be totally aware of the organizing that's happening, but refrains of old that I used to hear was, well, why do they want $15 an hour?
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not hearing any of that. Like, I'm not hearing, well, if the company has to pay them $20 an hour, that's going to make our lattes be $6. Like, I'm not hearing that, which is encouraging. Like, I'd rather not hear anything than to hear that kind of opposition. So
I thought the latte was $6 because I'm out the loop. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, we had a great conversation in one of my classes yesterday where somewhat, if I remember correctly, unprompted, the question was raised, what did everybody in the class think about the value of strikes? It wasn't related specifically, I think, to any one thing, but and we had a real, I enjoyed it, a nice conversation with the class about the potential value of strikes. And I, of course, would encourage more, a big, everybody. And I was just, because I was, one of the questions I did say to them, raise with them, was that we did talk a little bit about the Amazon story, but was that, imagine, if they were able to get even Amazon to concede on one unionized shop with that level of work, imagine what could be done if you started to see across the board 50 to 75% of working people walking out and demanding huge things, akin to what Dr. King was arguing for, guaranteed incomes and universal health care, just some, things like that. What if, the country would, and we had anyway, it was an exciting conversation to even fantasize about what that would look like and what the impact might be if that happened.
What day was that victory?
Friday.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. It was right in time for close to MLK's assassination. Saying he was out there working for striking garbage workers. So that's a silver lining in the old joint. I like to connect dots and dates and shit, but
that's
anyway,
dope.
go ahead.
Yes. And, I'm hoping that the Amazon labor union goes in there and asks for big fucking asks, right? I think every Amazon worker should be salaried with benefits. If you drive the truck, if you work in the warehouse, $50K, bennies, give it up. You know what I'm saying? Amazon can absolutely afford it. And we're still keeping an eye on the ongoing vote that's happening in Bessemer at the location there in Alabama. Those workers have been trying to organize that facility for a couple of years, and Amazon was found guilty of dirty tricks by the National Labor Relations Board. And let me say this, I was saying this yesterday on my show, talking about police in DC, et cetera, but all the federal agencies in the District of Columbia have a law enforcement apparatus. They have their own police squad. How come the National Labor Relations Board does not have its own police? Can you imagine the NLRB rolling up on Howard Schultz, putting the cuffs on him for wage theft, for not providing safe working conditions, like rolling up on Bezos? It's like the one agency in the federal government that should be able to lock people up, lock up these CEOs, of course, does not have a law enforcement apparatus.
Because this is a corporation that we live under.
No doubt.
And these are the same people. It's almost like the police unions or associations, as some folks say, locking up
themselves.
Exactly. The Secretary of Defense. You know what I'm saying?
I always remember that old Alton Maddox argument from way back in the day, where he said only a crooked nation would set up a situation where people go to court and are judged by their peers. He said that's why they set it up like that. You can't lock these people up.
No, of course not.
Right. No locking up. No locking up.
For the real crimes, you can only get locked up for what King called the derivative crimes of poverty. Yeah, no doubt. So, listen, I know we're about to wrap up another, dare I say, great show here at the Remix Morning Show.
Yes.
Well done to the colleagues. Shout out to Sister May in the background and Erica for the stories. In particular.
Thank you, Erica.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
I think it's more dialogue today. I don't think we did too many stories. I don't know if we did or not, but I think it was it worked out.
We did. We worked them in. We worked them in. We had
it's
them
not a bad
launching
thing. I think
points.
it's good to just chat, because I think it's necessary, because sometimes folks are just getting, indoctrinated. Sometimes it's good to, analyze and break shit down and get different perspective, because, it's the beauty of life.
But just real quick on the way out, if we could just go back to where we sort of started and just again be reminded on the way out of Bobby Hutton Day and what all that means and continues in terms of reverberating histories and politics, and it's doubtful that will be brought up anywhere else in people's media diet.
That is correct.
It's good to any last words on that for today?
With what you said, just on that, I say we have let's make it the norm to promote, our anniversaries, our victories, our commemorations. I think that over the years, many of us who have worked on Black August Organizing Committee, BAOC, and worked around the whole the system of Black August, or excuse me, the commemoration of Black August. I think that it's been a great job, because I remember the days when folks didn't know anything about Black August. Now it's becoming a little more palatable. But this is what we have to do with all of our days. So please remember Bobby Hutton, but also, retweet, post, and share that information, because Bobby Hutton is just as important of American hero, of a hero as anyone else. If you're going to talk about someone who's a patriot, he is a patriot that represents us.
Right on.
I just want to say that, let me thank you both real quick, because yesterday I rewatched your interview with Samaria Rice to sort of get me fired up from my show. So I want to thank you all for the content that BPM brings, that is its own wellspring of knowledge and resource. That, by the way, I would love for the channel to be more searchable for videos. Is there a way? Who could we talk to? We need to talk to YouTube about that. But because there's a lot of content up here to go through. So, but it is becoming an invaluable repository for historical reference, for modern day reference of people who are experiencing things that are going to impact us historically in the future. So I am a huge fan of Black Power Media. I'm so excited to be part
We're happy to have you.
No, thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Kim Brown burning it down, home and abroad. So yes,
that's a good question though on the search joint. I mean, anyway, that's a good question. Look into that. But anyway, of course, Remix will be back tomorrow morning. So everybody be sure you on hand for some more of that boom bap breakfast.
When's your spring break, Jared?
Morgan had its already.
My bad.
And now, but the only problem is, with both girls in different schools and me in a different school district, we never get lined up spring breaks. So that's the only whack part. But we already had ours, and I was here, so it was just as exciting for me.
When I was in school, the white parents would take their kids out of school for their spring break. Like they'd be like, "Oh, well, Jimmy, we'll see you in 2 weeks." Okay. And then you have a pile of work for Jimmy. But anyway, sorry,
my bloodline notwithstanding, this is definitely not a white household.
Got you.
So
we're happy to hear that announcement, Jared.
Surprise!
I love that. Jared, anyway, to be clear, he does not move like white folks out here, okay?
Shout out to all the remixers out there for supporting us. Please continue to support us and continue to push the platform, because as Kim said, we have so much content, and every now and then, even myself, I'm like, damn, when did this happen?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know this happened, because we moving and grooving and we punching and we trying to do what we're doing. So definitely, you are as our man Jalil Muta King would say, we are on liberators. You are our liberators. So please continue to remix and help us start some riots out that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Rebel. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Black Power Media Remix Morning Show. We are out of here.
See y'all. Deuces.